Mom, Dad.
Brian, Stacy, your mother Ellen and I are so glad you decided to join us for this family communications session.
So, what's up? You guys getting divorced or something?
No, we just wanted the family to talk as a group.
Okay, well, let's get it started then.
Fire it up, footballers. James here, coming at you live from a van down by the river. Hopefully, today is looking kindly down on you. Let's see what is going on in the world today. But before we get to that, if you could please take a moment to consider subscribing to Spitting Fire YT. It would utterly delight us if today was the day we earned your subscription. And if you can, take a moment and smash that like button. It does a great deal of tricking the YouTube algorithms into transmitting Chicago Fire YouTube content out into the world. And we greatly appreciate you taking the time to spend a few minutes here with us today as we discuss a free article on The Athletic, MLS preparing for a potential work stoppage. Memo says, MLS President and Deputy Commissioner Mark Abbott counseled teams and league staff in a memo sent Wednesday to prepare for a potential work stoppage. Not looking good there, folks. The memo, a copy of which was obtained by The Athletic, was sent out just 2 days before the January 29th deadline to negotiate a revised collective bargaining agreement between MLS and the MLS Players Association. ESPN was first to report the memo. Who cares? The January 29th deadline provides all constituents, the league, the clubs, and the players adequate time to prepare for the upcoming season, supposedly. The memo reads in part, at this point, however, we are required to plan for the possibility that the CBA may be terminated and that a work stoppage could occur. Therefore, we will be providing the clubs with guidance later today regarding the rules that must be followed during such work stoppage. If a stoppage comes to fruition, it would be the first in league history. It certainly wouldn't be the first in other leagues' history, but this is certainly turning into an interesting couple of years thanks to the P word, the pandemic. We want to be clear. Our hope is to reach an agreement and avoid a work stoppage, the memo said, but we must be prepared in the event that we are unable to reach an agreement. How we got here. According to Sam Stexel, soccer staff writer, we had him on the show a few years ago. It was awesome. When negotiating the CBA last June, MLS fought for the inclusion of a force majeure clause. That clause allows either party to amend the CBA if an act of God, like, say, a global pandemic, causes certain conditions to be met. MLS, citing the ongoing effects of COVID-19, invoked the clause on December 29th, opening a 30-day window for both parties to negotiate in good faith modifications to the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement. That window closes at 12 a.m. Eastern on Friday. That is tomorrow, January 29th, by my account. Am I right? You never know with these days. If that deadline passes without an agreement, the league will have the right to unilaterally terminate the CBA, which could easily lead to a lockout. The main issues at stake, according to Paul Tenorio, soccer staff writer, also had him on the show, fantastic. The league has claimed more than $1 billion in losses in 2020 due mostly to this redacted and the impact of the pandemic had on the business. It argues the league will continue to suffer losses in 2021 and beyond, especially with no clear timeline on when stadiums will be able to return to full capacity. The league says it made a quote-unquote fair offer so that the players didn't take a pay cut in 2021, instead extending the CBA by 2 years. How gracious of them. That extension will push the next CBA negotiations to after the 2027 season, also after the World Cup, which is also not going to be happening in Chicago at all. Chicago is not having a bid for any stadiums for the World Cup games in 2026. A full year beyond the dare I read ahead, a full year beyond the 2026 World Cup, avoiding any negotiations that before that U.S. hosted global soccer event or in the months after. Well, momentum is expected to help the league grow. That extension is now the main issue at the negotiating table, the MLSPA perspective, according to Tenorio. While the union did not want to avoid taking another pay cut in 2021, unlike other professional sports in the U.S., many athletes in MLS make less than $150K per year. We talked about that with Dwayne Rollins on our show not too long ago. And would be hit harder by a reduction. Agreeing to extend the CBA would have long-term ramifications for the union. Also on players that have yet to even join MLS. Imagine all those players that have yet to join MLS in 2026 or 2027, and they're going to be locked into, or in 2025, and they're going to be locked into this agreement formed under these conditions. On a basic level, pushing back the terms of the CBA and extending it would result in at least $100 million in salary savings alone for league owners, which means $100 million in salary concessions from the players, even without a pay cut. But CBA negotiations are often when big gains are made by the union. In 2015, it was a form of free agency. In 2020, it was the first form of revenue share and significant advancement in free agency rights. By extending the terms of the CBA another 2 years, the MLSPA already agreed to push back the terms of the agreement by 1 year last summer. The league would be delaying those gains by 3 years from what they initially bargained in February 2020. Crucially, an extension would hand the league leverage in two key areas: the negotiation of a new media rights deal after the 2022 season and the U.S., Mexico, and Canada-based 2026 World Cup. The players would essentially have to wait years to benefit from the significant growth expected around those two events instead of bargaining off of them. For those reasons, the league's proposal is likely not seen as a quote-unquote fair one, as much as one that would have major consequences felt by the player pool for years to come. Absolutely, it seems like that way, and Dwayne was echoing those sentiments on our show not too long ago. What a work stoppage would mean, according to Sam Stexel. The impact of a work stoppage would, of course, depend on its length. No one would argue, however, that this is not a crucial time for MLS. In addition to the 2026 World Cup, the league is approaching the end of its current media rights deal following the 2022 season. Interesting to note that ESPN was trying to get the rights of La Liga as well right now. Both the new broadcast deal and the 26 World Cup will be critical to MLS's long-term health. Are you paying attention, fans? And also non-fans who aren't obviously paying attention. The league needs to increase its momentum prior to each of these inflection points. A work stoppage would make that all the more difficult. Emphasis by me. It would also undoubtedly infuriate the players who, if locked out, would be able to sign contracts with foreign clubs, at least until any stoppage ends. Again, the impact would depend on length, but a stoppage would do the league no favors in terms of perception, player relations, and support among avid fans. Though, it would also decrease costs for ownerships in the short term. Awesome little article, not boding well at the moment, it seems. If we could check up with Mickey Turner, should be noted that the MLSPA doesn't think that there is a deadline, at least one that has any particular force of law. So when we're talking about a January 29th Friday deadline tomorrow, the league isn't seeing it that way. Not the league, the Players Association not seeing it that way. They see they have a little bit more time to reject and counter with potentially a new deal. Also, a lot of the public, per Mickey Turner, at Turner SQ. By the way, links are in the description as always. And if you could take a moment, smash that like button for MLS News on here, Spitting Fire YT. Greatly appreciate it if today was the day we were in subscription. Also, per Mickey Turner, a lot of this public posturing seems like performance art to prepare for the inevitable lawsuit challenging the invocation of the force majeure clause. But maybe they come to an agreement at the last minute. Per Paul Tenorio, this MLS CBA analysis is in our news headlines for free in all three. Yes, I was just mentioning that. And also a reminder that the NBA and the NBA Players Association pushed back their deadline 5 times to avoid a work stoppage and make a deal. January 29th does not have to be a hard deadline. No legal requirement. So, interesting little bit of news there. as the world is seemingly having some issues of instability in various markets, and not including MLS and sports attendance figures. So, what do you guys think? Are the MLS players about to strike? Are we going to have an MLS 2021 season? Will the owners are the owners trying to pull something here, where it's maybe a unique moment for them to take advantage of this, or are they in the right, and they're just trying to protect the league by doing this? I'm not so sure, but let us know what you guys think in the comments. We would love to hear from you. Smash that like button, subscribe for more Spinning Fire, and think about hitting that bell icon to get a hold of our live updates so you can be part of the show as we do them live from our van down by the river. All right, guys, we'll catch you guys later. Have a great one.